Good evening and welcome to this STEM Ambassador training that the IMechE is providing. Today we are going to be covering STEM outreach outside of the classroom, and it is the 8th of this year's STEM Ambassador training that the institution is providing for its membership. To those of you that don't know me, I'm Yana Gatusha and I'm the Education Outreach and Safeguarding Lead at the institution. My role is to provide corporate focus for education programs, education partnerships, and our different committees and boards that work towards our education and skills goals. Some of you may be aware that the institution has recently launched its strategy, and its focuses on two key areas of work. The first is developing members, and the second is ensuring that those members have maximum impact in society. Of course, there's a whole plethora of activity that goes into that, but education and skills really does cut across all areas of our work. And in particular, the focus of education outreach is making sure that we can really maximize our members, yourselves, your skills, your expertise, and inspire young people and get them enthused about the profession, and hopefully want to join the profession. So with regards to our education and skills work, we're really focusing on one, trying to get more people into engineering, two, diversifying that pipeline, and three, improving the skills of young people going into the profession. And today we're going to cover some of the different aspects. So usually we focus a lot on going into the classroom, how you can support teachers with different partnerships or different different. Anybody that's just joined, please mute yourself. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. And today we're going to focus on lots of different opportunities that we have for members to get involved in outreach outside of the classrooms. So I'll pass on to Alex, who will go into some of those in a little bit more detail. As we've said, we're recording this session. If you don't want to be filmed, please switch off your camera. If you want to type any questions, put them in the chat and we'll happily go through it. And please do engage. This is your opportunity to speak to us, ask anything that you want, obviously, and engage with each other. So I'll pass on to Alex now. Thank you very much for joining us.
Brilliant. Thanks, Yelena, and thank you everybody for joining us. Fantastic to see you. So yeah, I'm going to share my screen because I've got a couple of slides to go through, but I'm also very much looking forward to hopefully getting some interaction going and sharing your experience as well of STEM outreach beyond the classroom, so we can support each other as an IMechE community to help bring inspiration and ideas and suggestions of how we can maximize our impact and get involved even more to support the mission that Yelena was saying about inspiring the next generation and really making that education outreach piece very strong, but not just in schools, because there are so many opportunities. All right, so for those who don't know me, very quick intro. I recognize quite a few names on the call, which is lovely. So you do know me, so apologies, you've heard this all before, but I'm a fellow with the IMechE. I'm an engineer myself, and I had a career in industry working in various different engineering roles and companies before founding STEMazing, which is a not-for-profit social enterprise all about inspiration and inclusion in STEM. And we are proud to be one of the official partners of the IMechE, and I'll tell you more about how you can get involved in what we do later as well. But it's fantastic to have been working with the IMechE this year to bring monthly online training for IMechE members to help you level up. As a STEM ambassador, we have definitely focused on schools a lot in our training, so we're hoping to look at outside of schools today. Now, I don't know if we've got any of the IMechE REOs, the Regional Education Officers, on the call. If you are, maybe you could give us a shout out or put your digital hand up, because it's great for people to know who your local Regional Education Officer is. That's a fantastic way to connect with what is going on in your region that you can get involved with. So Yelena, maybe you could put the link to the list of the REOs in the chat so people can find out who their local one is for more contact. So these are all of the trainings that we've done so far this year, and we're now in the October one, which is hard to believe already. So if you missed any of the previous online ones, they were recorded. You're able to go back and watch the recording on the IMechE website. So don't feel that you've missed anything there. And what we have, as I said, covered quite a lot in the past was how you can make an impact in schools. But I wanted to remind everybody of this and bring this up because that sort of thinking about how you can engage, inspire, and impact is absolutely important in the classroom, but is also very important outside of the classroom as well. And keeping those sort of the people that you're speaking to, the audience that you're with, the career fair that you're at, the science festival that you're at, how you're going to engage the audience, how you're going to inspire them with your story, with engineering stories, and how you're going to leave an impact and hopefully ensure that they walk away with a better understanding of what engineering is, and more importantly, how it makes a difference in the world. So no matter what outreach you're doing, whether that's in the classroom or outside of the classroom, if you remember that really our job is to engage them, inspire them, and leave an impact so that hopefully they see engineering as more of an accessible option for them, and that they are smashing any stereotypes around engineering and misperceptions around what engineering is, and that they importantly can connect it to the real world. And you can do that in so many ways, and not just by going into the classroom. And that's why we wanted to focus on this topic tonight, was beyond the classroom. So we're going to cover why is this needed, how you can get involved, and we'll tell you more about the various partners at the IMechE that all offer fantastic opportunities for you to get engaged, give back, and up level your skills as well. And I would love to hear from any examples of how you in the audience tonight have already done STEM outreach outside of the classroom, and share those with us. So have a think about what stories you might want to share with us as well, because that's really powerful. Right, so why is this needed? Well, we all know about the STEM skills shortage. We all know the facts of, the stats that banded around all the time. £1.5 billion it costs the UK economy for the STEM skills shortage, that we regularly have a shortfall of around 60,000 engineers each year. And the latest stats from Engineering UK, which is pretty stark, show that 1 in 4 job vacancies in the UK are for engineering. So we have a lot of vacancies. Companies can't find the engineers that they need. And that is just reinforces why this work is so important. And we as engineering ambassadors can make a real difference with that. Yes, we're looking at the longer term. It's not a quick fix, but if we can get out there and spread the word about engineering, it genuinely can make a difference. And I'll show you some stats that show that. But more on the problem, we know that when you look at the diversity in engineering, we're lacking with that diverse perspective of engineers, and particularly things like gender diversity, which is the biggest gap, if you like, compared to the population that we are serving in the UK compared to the engineers we have in our workforces, with only 16% of engineers being women still. So we have a long way to go with that, and certainly inspiring young girls and women all throughout their education career can make a big difference with inspiring them to consider engineering as an option for them. And again, recent stats from Engineering UK showing that 55% of school students say they know what engineers do. And that might actually sound quite high. I mean, I'm definitely aware of stats in the past when it's been a lot less than that. So this feels like progress, but we don't know if those students were right about what they said they think engineers do. And the fact that we've still got 45% of students saying they don't know what engineers do, that's still a large proportion that we need to get out there and help understand what it is. And of course, it's not just students, it's teachers as well, and it's parents as well. So thinking of how you can access a general range of sort of stakeholders, if you like, the young people, absolutely, but also influencing teachers, people who are leaders in education, and also parents who are a huge influence on young people's decisions. So it's not just all about the young people, they're influenced a huge amount by those around them. So this mission of being sort of part of that change, and how we as the engineering community can come together to inspire the next generation, is more important than ever when you look at these stats. So we still have a long way to go. But the positive news is that it absolutely does make a difference. And one of the things you can do that's outside a typical classroom setting environment is a careers fair. And yes, they may still be in schools, or they may be external to schools and held in external venues and things. And this stats, again from Engineering UK, very recent stats, show that when young people attend a careers event with an engineering employer, they are twice as likely to know what engineers and scientists do, and almost 3 times as likely to be interested in an engineering career. So I think that is huge. But the downside is that only 12% of young people have attended a career event like that. So we're not getting enough out there for young people to access. And again, looking at STEM careers activities, when people are involved in STEM careers activities, they're 3.5 times more likely to know what people working in engineering do, and almost 3.5 times as likely to consider a career in engineering. So these things really do make a difference. We absolutely can inspire and influence and leave that impact when we get involved in events like this. Now, I would say one of the first things that it's important to do, if you haven't already, is to sign up as a STEM ambassador. So we mention this very frequently and often, and it might actually be good to see in the chat, if you can put in the chat if you are already a STEM ambassador or not, so we can see how many people on the call are already signed up as STEM ambassadors. So if you just want to put in a yes or a no, that would be great. Okay, so Alan is a yes, Andrea, yes, Joshua, no, not yet, Lewis, yes. Okay, great. So there's quite a few of you who are. Tom, no. Trevor, no. Okay, so one of the first things it's really good for you to do when you want to get involved in doing STEM outreach, whether that's in the classroom or beyond the classroom, is to sign up as a STEM ambassador. To become an IMechE STEM ambassador, we absolutely want you to sign up with STEM Learning, which is the UK national body for coordinating all STEM ambassadors. And when you sign up as a STEM ambassador, when you register there, which is very easy to do, there's links on the IMechE website. There's also links on the STEM Learning website. In fact, the IMechE website takes you to the STEM Learning website. It's a free, quick process to sign up as a STEM ambassador, and they will do your DBS check. It's called DBS in England, PVG in Scotland. They will do your DBS check for you, again, for free. Other organizations do charge you to do that, but STEM Learning do it for free for you. And that means that, for schools or getting involved in careers fairs, or if you do things like with, I don't know, guides or brownies or cubs, or in your local community where they want to check that the adults getting involved in these activities are absolutely safe and fine to be around young people or vulnerable adults. So it's a really fantastic, easy thing to do to get you started on this journey of STEM outreach if you haven't already. So those who said no, highly recommend you go and do that. It doesn't take long at all. And once you're into the STEM learning sort of world and you're signed up as a STEM ambassador, then again, you will get access to a lot of opportunities to make a difference inside the classroom and outside of the classroom. So I'd really recommend you go on the IMechE website and have a look at all of their amazing resources and sort of in really informative videos they've got about becoming an IMechE STEM ambassador if you haven't already. And I wanted to get your feedback on this. So we've got, I've linked here, I've put in sort of the logos of the various IMechE partners when you're looking at STEM outreach in different ways you can get involved. And I'd love to see in the chat if anyone has been involved with any of these programs to date. So we've got Primary Engineer, Inspiring Governance, Big Bang, STEM Learning, which I've already just mentioned, Tomorrow's Engineers, and Neon and STEMazing. And Yelena and I can talk through more about what each of these organizations offers, but it'd be fantastic to see if anybody here has already been involved in any of these organizations yet. I'm not seeing anything in the chat, so I don't know if that means a no. Oh, there we go. Andrea is saying Primary Engineer and STEM Learning. Alan, not sure. Brad contacted Primary Engineer. Okay, fantastic. Andrea, I'd love to know if you don't mind coming off mute and giving us a quick just a very quick summary of what you or how you've been involved with Primary Engineer, what you've done with them, because it would be fantastic for others to know the kind of thing that you've done.
Yeah, so over last school year, we did Primary Engineer as part of our parent company. So our particular company had one school in Bolton, and we helped them make the cars. They was the challenge for this year. So we were working with I think year 2 were just designing cars out of a shoebox and just doing a design. But the best ones were the years 5, I think it was, who were actually making the car and learning about the electronics and the cogs and the gears. And then we had a big kind of open day at Salford University where we had about all 10 schools come and did various challenges. So it was really good. And just even going into the school and working with the kids, it was excellent. I really love being a STEM ambassador.
Fantastic. Oh, thanks so much for sharing that. Yeah, so the Primary Engineer program, where you're getting to go in and volunteer and support schools and also get involved with the if you were an engineer, what would you do competition, is fantastic. So in the past, I've been involved as a volunteer judge for that, and it happens all around the country. So you can get engaged in your local region and volunteer to go and judge all these competition entries that come through, which are just amazing because it's right from very, very young children, you know, like reception year 1 up to 18-year-olds. And so to actually get that view of what all these young people are saying, if they were an engineer, what would they design? And then get to judge that and as a collective group come up with the winners is an absolutely fantastic experience. So in that instance, judging the competition, you're not engaging with young people directly, but you're part of that sort of process of inspiring them and engaging them in engineering. But like Andrea said, getting involved in the kind of activities where they build hands-on practical stuff is fantastic, absolutely brilliant as well. And Andrea, sorry, did you say that was, did you do that in a school or did they come to your company?
We went to a school to do it, yeah. And then we went to the university. So it was all, at the school with the kids and getting sticky fingers and full of glue, as you can imagine. You tell them, don't glue your fingers together. And it's obviously the first thing they want to do.
Absolutely. And yes, so because with that, who wants to be an engineer, or what would you do if you were an engineer competition, the winners actually get their STEM idea made at university as well. And then they have university partners that actually create a prototype of their design idea, which is brilliant. So it's a really good combination of sort of working in schools with teachers, with organizations, and with higher education, all of those things linking together. I can see, so anyone else who said primary engineer whilst we're talking about that? No, I don't think anyone else has been involved with primary engineer. Is there anything else you wanted to add on primary engineer, Yelena, from your perspective?
I think from my perspective, or IMechE perspective, it's really the one that we ask people to get involved with if they're looking as a starting point. It's more of a structured program. You can do it with your local school. It's free for the school to get involved. And from our side, it's good because they track all the data, so we can measure what our members are collectively doing. And then obviously we're working towards collaborative combined goals. So definitely a good one to get involved with. They also have engineers that are interviewed by the class, so they will come into the classroom depending on what type of volunteering you get involved with. And again, it's the kids come up with the ideas. The best ones, as Alex said, are chosen, and then they're built by undergrads at universities that support the program. And then they have celebration events and the interviewing of people from industry going into classrooms. So really young kids, undergrads, industry, and it's all linked up together. So if you haven't been involved and you're looking for a starting point, it's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, if you go onto the IMechE website, there's links to all of the partners, and then you can look at how you can get involved there. Fantastic. I wanted to come because I can see Brad has put in there about contacting primary engineer, but doing the STEM learning mentor scheme. And I think mentoring is one of those absolutely brilliant ways that you can really influence and support young people and give them that sort of open their eyes to engineering. Brad, it would be fantastic. Can you tell us a bit about the mentor scheme that you're involved with STEM learning, if you don't mind coming off mute?
Evening, everyone. Yeah, the scheme started last Monday, originally asking for mentors to have discussions with up to 3 secondary school students. On the first day, that doubled up to 6, and I've now got 6 mentees.
Wow.
And it's really quite eye-opening, some of the naive questions that you would expect a sixth former to be able to answer, which they can't for various reasons. Up to, I've also got a 14-year-old lad who really doesn't know which way is up, and so there's an opportunity to kind of give lots of advice on general things as well as engineering things. And another girl who's done a placement with Renishaw and is taking a year out and starting her own business before going to University College London, and is wanting perspectives on life in engineering. So it's actually far better than I was kind of hoping, really, because you get a chance to really influence or advise in many ways alternatives to what they might originally be thinking about, because lots of kids get directed down the university route, and there are other routes into engineering which need to be made aware to kids in secondary school. So there's a whole variety of engagements, and I'm only a week into the scheme, and yeah, I'm feeling as though it was a good call to get into it.
Fantastic. And did you sign up to that through the STEM Learning website?
Yeah, it's run on a platform called Brightside, but the introduction was through STEM Learning.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Brilliant. And I think that's a great one, isn't it? Because it's a way of, basically you're using the app, the Brightside app. So you're using technology to be able to mentor young people in a very safe way. So they're obviously very hot on safeguarding. And so you don't actually meet the young person. It's all through messaging, isn't it?
That's right. I perceived it to be a very low risk and very low effort way of giving advice. The effort is quite a lot more than I thought it was going to be, but that's good as well. So yeah,
that's
it is a very safe environment.
Yeah, and if people
in fact,
obviously,
I directed the young lady to you today, Alex.
oh,
So
fantastic.
you might be getting an email from someone.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. I love it when connections happen. Brilliant. Yeah. So I think mentoring is fantastic. And that what is one option through STEM learning for mentoring young people, where they will match you up with a school person, normally school age person, who is looking to understand more about their way forward, next steps, and like Brad said, it could be advice on careers, it could be any kind of life advice as well, I suppose, because the children are able to ask you anything, but it's very well monitored within the app, and it's text messaging basically, and you don't have to have 6 mentees, like Brad's gone right in at the deep end with 6 mentees, but even just having 1 or 2 mentees is a fantastic way of doing that STEM outreach that's not directly in a classroom. But other mentor schemes as well, I'd say, I'm very involved in a mentoring scheme at Brunel University. Any universities local to you, if they're running mentoring schemes between industry and undergraduates, I would highly recommend putting your name forward and volunteering for that. I found that really rewarding, supporting at that sort of critical stage where undergraduates in engineering are trying to get their first job in industry, and that can be really hard, and there's some fantastic talent out there that's at risk of falling through the gaps and not getting a job that they deserve. And coming back to the original stats we talked about, we need more engineers going into engineering jobs. So that's a really, really strong way that you can make a difference by mentoring.
I think there's one crucial thing you said there, which I'd like to reiterate on this Brightside mentoring scheme. Every message is from both the mentor and the mentee is monitored by a third party. So it really is. I believe it's a really safe scheme.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're completely right. They approve the messages before they get through to each party to make sure that everything is fine. Yeah.
And protection is needed on both sides.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So again, and so through STEM learning, there's loads of opportunities to get involved in things like careers fairs as well. And through your IMechE REO, they will be involved in local events like festivals and science fairs and so many things that are out in the community, not at schools necessarily, that you can get involved with and be there in person as well. And before on previous recordings we've done with this training series, we've had John, who's one of our REOs, telling us all about the amazing stuff that goes on in the Midlands, and particularly things like air shows, where you get free ticket to go along because you're volunteering to help, but you get to see the amazing air show and inspire the young people that are there at the same time. So really, really highly recommend you put yourself forward for volunteering at events like that. I can see that Josh has said with STEM learning something different. So STEM Fest Northeast. Josh, do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, sure thing. So with our company, we were the headline sponsor for this STEM Fest Northeast. My role in that was to take children through a drill and tap exercise, which I believe is an IMechE exercise, and essentially getting their perception of engineering and how they would see themselves within an engineering environment. And from our point of view, we would then ask questions to kind of put their knowledge into application. So it was, for example, where could we see improvements on a production line environment, and kind of just start to get them thinking a bit. And then afterwards, there was another section where it was a VR headset to go over and dismantle an engine. So it was kind of just leading them activities and kind of networking with different schools and how we can help to support STEM in those local schools.
Amazing. And that kind of thing where your company was a sponsor at the event, so you got to go along as part of being there to sort of represent your company. And again, if you're working for organizations, if other people on the call are working for organizations that could get involved in events like the different STEM festivals that are run through STEM learning in different parts of the country. So STEM Fest in the Northeast is the example Josh is talking about, but things like the Big Bang Fair as well, where companies can go along, have a stand. Normally they're encouraging you to do an interactive activity of some sort, because obviously that's really engaging for the children. And you will see thousands of children in a day. I mean, it is absolutely exhausting. Josh will probably attest to that, because I was at STEM Fest as well in the Northeast, and I mean, there were thousands of children. It's a fantastic experience. And at the Big Bang Fair, it's even bigger, like way bigger. So it's a really great thing for your company to get involved with, and then for you to volunteer to represent your company. Or if your company is not involved, you can still get involved as a volunteer. And if you go on, again, through the IMechE website, click on the Big Bang Fair, it will take you to their website. And on there, if you scroll to the bottom, it says, do you want to volunteer? And it will tell you how you can volunteer at the Big Bang Fair. And I've volunteered there in the past. It's such a buzzing environment. It is amazing and great for you as an individual, because you get to meet loads of other companies in your sector and different sectors that are passionate about STEM outreach, and see all the amazing ideas that other people have got on their stands for running interactive activities. So again, highly recommend it. It's I think it's next, I want to say it's, I don't know exactly the date actually. I think it's next spring, but don't quote me on that. Yelena, do you happen to know when the Big Bang Fair is? I know it's to the NEC in Birmingham, but I don't know the exact date.
I think it's June, middle of June, 10th
June.
or something. Yeah, it's June. I
Yeah.
have it in my calendar, so let me look. I'll have a look.
So it might seem like a long way away, but if you want to be involved, the opportunities for volunteers get snapped up quickly. So if it's something you want to have a go at and like be involved in basically the biggest engineering science fair that there is, then go on the website and offer to be a volunteer as soon as you can, because it's a fantastic thing to do.
Sorry, 19th to 21st of June. Sorry to
June.
June 19th to 21st of June, so it's not the 10th.
Okay, 19th to the 21st of June. Okay, yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's at the NEC. So yes, that would be a great one for you to look into. And also, we've got Tomorrow's Engineers on here and the Neon website as well. And I've put those on there. You can volunteer. Different organizations run things to do with Tomorrow's Engineers Week, which is in November, coming up very soon. And you can volunteer as part of those. But these websites particularly are fantastic for resources and inspiration and things that will help you be really effective in a session that you're running with, be that at a careers fair or going into a school or anything you're doing locally in your community. You can get fantastic activity ideas on Neon, and you can get fantastic careers resources to help you really bring to life engineering on the Tomorrow's Engineers website. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to start from scratch. You can go and see what fantastic resources they've got there and basically just copy those, use those, download those. So I wanted to include that because, again, links from the IMechE website, it makes your life easy to do all of this stuff because it's all there for you. Anything you want to add on, Yelena, on Tomorrow's Engineers or Neon or Big Bang?
I think that you've covered most of it. I mean, you have the resources on there as well that are useful for you to use. I think you touched on that. And yeah, just have a look. There's lots of different opportunities. Some of them are virtual, some are in person. So there really is a lot to work with there.
Yeah. And actually, I can see Tom has put in the chat that you've got an opportunity coming up with tomorrow's engineers. Are you able to tell us what that is, Tom, and share that?
Yeah, good evening all. I actually only just got an email about it this afternoon. But it's one of the events on the 6th of November that tomorrow's engineers are running. I'm a placement student currently, so I've still not actually graduated. But it's an opportunity to be part of a panel or provide a case study to age group of 11 to 14-year-olds looking to, share my experiences so far, basically.
Absolutely brilliant. That's fantastic to hear. Well done. And it just shows that we need a broad spectrum and age range and experience range of STEM ambassadors. So right from undergrad through to experienced engineers, you are all able to make a difference and inspire and inform and influence. So absolutely, it doesn't matter how much experience you've got or don't have, you're able to give your perspective and your experience to date, even if that's just studying engineering at university. It's still really valid. So fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. That sounds great.
Sorry, Alex, can I just add that it's really useful for young people to hear about everyone's experiences at every level. And if anything, they find it quite easy to relate to people their own age. So please do keep getting involved and tell your colleagues that it's a great opportunity. And even if they may feel that they're not the most qualified or have the most experience, they certainly have enough experience to give to it and a valuable contribution to make.
Absolutely. Yeah, completely agree. And then I'll cover STEMazing quickly, and then we'll talk about inspiring governance, because that's a really key one and not many people know about the opportunities there. So STEMazing is, as I said, we're really looking to raise the profile of women in STEM role models. So at the moment, being a small organization, we just work with women in STEM. And so with the IMechE, we are supporting women engineers. So in our programs that are online programs, we support women engineers to be more confident, visible role models. We do training about, how to be more effective with public speaking, things like confidence on camera, and how you can face any fears you've got about being recorded on camera or doing online live activities or presentations. And also then we match all those women up with primary schools in the UK that have a high percentage of families on free school meals. And then all of the women involved in our programs deliver a series of STEMazing Kids activities to age 7 to 9-year-olds. So that is in schools, but what we find is that the women who've been through our training are then more confident to go on and do lots of other types of STEM outreach in and out of the classroom. So if you know any women engineers, particularly IMechE members, because IMechE members get some guaranteed places on our program, which is all completely free, then please direct them to our website, because we run our Inspiration Academy program for women engineers twice a year. So we'd love to see more IMechE members involved in that. And again, you don't have to have already been a STEM ambassador, or you can be a more experienced STEM ambassador. We welcome any level of experience, and we welcome women who are working in any area of engineering as well. But for the IMechE, we are obviously focused on IMechE members. So if you know anyone that wants to get involved, please send them my way. And then the last partner we wanted to talk about in here is inspiring governance, all about being a school governor. Now, I'm not a school governor, but I would, if anybody on the program, on the call tonight is a school governor, then let us know in the chat, because it would be great to hear your experience as an engineer and school governor. But Yelena, do you want to talk a bit more about that and what the opportunities are?
I can do. I don't think I'll do it the justice that inspiring governance partners do, but I can give it a go. We actually had a webinar on it last Friday. So probably one of the most influential ways that you can make an impact on education directly is by becoming a school governor or trustee. It is one of the more time-consuming roles. There is responsibility involved, and there's a commitment that you need to sign up for a given period. But partners such as Inspiring Governance, who we work with, and they're funded by the Department for Education, they provide training and take you through that process. So if you don't have prior experience, that's not an issue. It's definitely something that they can support you along the way. Engineers are really well suited to the position, and they bring a lot of good skills to it, such as problem solving, teamwork, and methodical thinking, etc. It is open to people at different levels, like many of the other opportunities, and is something that we have found young members find really, really valuable to developing their own skill set, learning how to developing or practicing how they work on a committee, and all of the different elements that go into, I suppose, making decisions in committee sort of work. It's definitely something we strongly recommend through the Education and Skills Strategy Board. And if you are able to devote the time, I think it's probably where you're likely to see some of the biggest impact if you want to sort of, get involved in the education outreach piece. Amazing. I don't know if anyone has any questions, but definitely I can link you up with Inspiring Governments. We worked with them for a number of years. We continue to promote them, and they're basically a facilitator and provide that training, and can link you to local schools or not local schools if you want to work in help a disadvantaged school or target a different area. It's mainly what's best for you.
Brilliant. Yeah, I know my husband is part of he's not actually a governor, but he's part of the wider governor committee in our local trust. So it's actually a very large number of schools. And he's a sustainability engineer and also an IMechE member. And he has found it really rewarding to be a part of that committee, helping to bring his engineering perspective and sustainability ideas to the school and get the school children involved in ideas of how they can bring sustainability into the school. And they're almost like a bit like Dragon's Den that the children did. And then some of the governing committee were the judges. And so, yeah, so many different ways that you can influence. That's fantastic. I can see Darren has said that you are an infant school governor, but not linked it with STEM yet. So hopefully maybe you can think about some ways that you can provide some influence into the school governors about how maybe the school could get involved with some more STEM activities, or do something specific for tomorrow's Engineers Week or British Science Week, and bring that STEM focus. I'd love to hear your view, Darren, on what it's like to be a school governor, how much of a commitment it is, what you feel the benefits are for you. If you don't mind unmuting and letting us know.
So it's the age-old thing of as much as you put in is what you get out of it. Mm-hmm. In Hampshire, the training is actually quite high quality, which you get, but it's just senior leadership, governance, training you get access to, but likewise, when a school has its challenges, then it needs you to pull on your strength and apply yourself. So it's no different to the workplace in that sense. So hopefully deploying my few years of engineering, but also a few years of governance and management, and giving as much as I can back in a focused way.
Fantastic, thank you. Great. Yes, I think it's maybe something that people might feel intimidated by initially, but would you say that it's something people should give it a go? I mean, obviously you'd have to apply to get, it's not even guaranteed you get on in some cases, that you have to apply and be voted voted in?
How do I put this? So maybe, when growing up and going through your engineering career from a young level to a more mature level, we as engineers, we tend to not realize how good we actually are and what we got to offer. I know, not through frustration, but it comes out of us as engineers when you really need to, fixing things. So yeah, it's always scary. The most scary part of it is, doing right for the little ones, the pupils. But ultimately, what you quite quickly realise, if you're half good, is you actually have a lot to offer, and that diversity of thinking, problem solving. And it's not. It can be engineering, but it can be much more, and life experience that they need are engineering views, which often are quite diverse from others who are not engineers. You have to hold your ground, but I think most engineers are quite skillful at that. Will go quiet and then come out quite loud when it clearly is wrong, and it's that. But then that's that usual judgment of doing it appropriately, courtesy, but working as a team and as all teams. But it's not just engineering, but as all teams, you've got to judge your moments and apply the gas, take your foot off the gas, to ultimately be successful. And I like it because the success is not you and your behaviour, but actually, are you having an effect and an impact on the pupils? Keeping that in mind, and sometimes it's quite hard, but keeping that in mind, it's quite a nice North Star, and linking vision, strategy, and risk management and engineering to all of that, but to a worthy cause. So highly commend it.
Oh, you have sold it brilliantly. Well done. Thank you, Darren. That's fantastic. Great. Well, I can see, Darren, that you've put a question in as well. I will get to that. And if anyone else has got any other questions, feel free to put those in the chat. We've got here, I've just listed loads of benefits for you for all the things we've talked about, of different ways you can get involved with STEM outreach, volunteering, through mentoring, through going to careers fairs, through getting involved in STEM festivals, representing your company at different events where there's going to be young people, through to being a governor. We've covered so many different ways that you can get involved in STEM outreach beyond the classroom. And in all of those things, there are so many benefits for you as the individual, as well as benefiting the audience that you're working with. Like Darren was just saying, ultimately, the guiding North Star is the fact that you're there to make the lives better for the children at school, and having that long-term focus on the impact that you will be making by volunteering your precious time and energy doing something like this. That sometimes you need to remain motivated with that, because you are giving up your free time to do these things, but it is so rewarding and you benefit in the process. And we had one of our first sessions this year was talking about all the benefits, and how, especially for younger members, how it really supports your chartership, becoming, getting your professional registration, and also for fellowship as well with the IMechE, being able to cite examples of where you're giving back to the community and doing STEM outreach really helps in getting your fellowship with the IMechE. So lots of benefits for you, and obviously lots of benefits for society and young people and your communities. I did actually have a slide on becoming a governor there as well. And the IMechE website, again, has got loads of great resources for you to go and have a look at and watch the little YouTube videos if you want a bit more information on things like this. But Darren did a fantastic job there selling it to us, so that's great. One other thing I wanted to mention is the different student challenges that the IMechE run. So you've got the Formula student, you've got the aerial unmanned aircraft one, which is the bottom one down there. You've got the railway challenge, you've got the IMechE Design Challenge and the Apprentice Automation Challenge. That's the second one down. So again, go on the IMechE website, have a look at the different student challenges. If some of those, for example, Formula Student is being run at your local university, or maybe, you know, for me, I do a bit of part-time work at the university as well, I can go and get involved in that. So look for those volunteering opportunities that are maybe not the obvious ones, and think about what fits with your passion and your knowledge and your expertise and your interest, because it's more likely to be a success if you do something that you are genuinely interested in as well. And this was one I mentioned earlier, the Midland one, where you've got things like the Cosford Air Show. If you're interested in planes, air shows, who isn't, then you can get involved in things like this through your local region, and you get to be involved in amazing events for free by giving your time to volunteer and help there. So lots of great opportunities through the REOs, your regional education officers, and many, many more things on the IMechE website. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to open for any more questions. And I can see Darren has put a question in there. Feel free to put any more questions in the chat if you have any. So Darren has said, what is the hardest part of STEM to promote or relay in a amazing way? So thanks for that question, Darren. I think when we're talking about being engaging and inspiring and leaving an impact, like I said at the beginning, then thinking about how you're going to engage and inspire your audience. That ideally for me, I think linking it into a practical activity of some sort, if that's in a classroom, doing a hands-on practical STEM activity, or if that's at a STEM fair, or even students coming and looking around your company for a site visit, or even at a careers fair. If you can do something where the students actually get engaged and get hands-on doing something themselves, so they're not just sitting and listening to you talking, then I think that's the best way to promote STEM in a STEMazing way. And sometimes people do find that hard. So sometimes people are very intimidated by the idea of doing something live and interactive. So I'd say that some people would see that as a hard thing. And other times I think people might find it a struggle to connect what the young people are learning at that stage in their education journey, like what they're learning in the curriculum, to their job, real life case studies that you know of that you can talk about. But if you just break it down to real basics, things like looking at science and maths basics, forces or shapes in maths, basics of physics and maths, and how you might be applying some of that to make a difference in the real world. Sometimes people struggle with that, but I think if you break it down to basics, you can do it. Brad's asking a question, has anyone done any work with the Careers and Enterprise Company in terms of advising school careers leaders? Has anyone on the call done that at all? Any involvement with that at all? Brad, is your question coming from, have you got experience of that, or are you looking to go down an avenue like that, or just intrigued?
I contacted them a few weeks ago, and I've got a discussion with a lady tomorrow morning. So I was wondering if anyone had been through the same process. It seemed like, on the face of it, it's meant for employers to get involved with school careers leaders, to advise them or provide opportunities for kids to go into local companies, or to advise the careers advisors. And given my understanding that not very many people actually understand what engineering is in primary and secondary schools, I just thought it might be another avenue to understand because the careers leaders will impact hundreds of kids. Yeah. So it's potentially there's quite a lot of gearing there. If the careers advisor is actually up to speed with engineering careers, then they can act as a conduit rather than the likes of STEM ambassadors going in year after year after year. So that's what I'm kind of hoping it might be, but I'll be a little bit wiser after tomorrow's session. Yeah, so it's another routine, isn't it?
Yeah, great. Thank you for bringing that up, Brad. Yelena?
Yeah, just from an education and skills strategy board perspective, we are looking to liaise more closely with a careers and enterprise company, and exploring routes how we might be able to get employers more engaged. But that is still at that strategic level, and we don't have anything firmed up yet. We have worked with individual, are they called hubs? They have different ones obviously across the country. So I've had individual experiences working on different projects, but not the overarching company. But definitely something we're looking to do, and to link up with our work experience program. And as that's live, I have to plug it now. It's open for registrations if you have kids that are 13 years old and up, or you want, to share it with any students that you know. It's a virtual work experience, and it's running live from next week if you want to share. I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you. Fantastic. Well, so many different ideas and suggestions, and I really want to thank everybody for your interaction tonight and for sharing your experience, because I think that's so helpful for others to hear what you've been doing and what's worked well for you. And now you know that there is a whole plethora of different ways that you can get involved and support STEM outreach beyond the classroom by going through the IMechE website and linking into different partners. Brad, I'll be particularly interested to know how you get on with that conversation, and maybe we can pick that up again in future and feed it into Yelena as well about how that's all going to develop, because that sounds fantastic as well. So just thank you to everybody. It's been great to see you. Really appreciate your time, and good luck with your STEM outreach journey, because just again, you absolutely will be making such a difference with any time that you can give. Absolutely, a little is better than nothing. So just start getting involved if you haven't already. Any closing words, Yelena?
No, just thanks everybody for your time. And if you have any questions or queries, please get in touch with me. I'll put my direct email in the chat. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.